What's up, everybody? I'm Paul Hickey with Data Driven Design and the Nashville Voice Conference. I'm here at Project Voice with QuHarrison Terry of Inevitable Human and Dr. Chitra Durgam. And I've been excited to talk to you, Dr. Durgam.
Yay.
Welcome. Thanks for being on the show.
Of course. I'm happy to be here. What we were talking about was how we're using branding in my office as well as my personal brand to help develop content for my eventual personal brand Voice Skill, as well as using the content that I've already created to then advertise the Voice Skill. And I'm just talking about my individual journey. I mean, being a dentist, it's interesting because I'm part of what I was saying is one of the most hated professions in the world, and I'm trying to get people to come to my office. So that's kind of what started my journey, and now developing content to overcome some of the preconceived notions that people have about data in dentistry, and trying to make them interested in coming to the dentist again was where I started. But with all of what I've been doing, and then possibly with being featured in Gary Vaynerchuk's book Crushing It, from there it kind of exploded, and it's amazing kind of the opportunities that came my way because of it.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you're a perfect example to me of someone that all of my audience needs to follow and almost literally do exactly what you've done from a marketing standpoint with your business. Can you tell us about why you think that all small business owners need to get on not only social media, but now voice?
So there's a lot of things that people could consider when they're developing their strategy, and I think it really starts with the strategy of how you want people to know about you, what you want to be represented at, and what's your ultimate goal that you're trying to achieve. Like, some people may be starting a small business, but they really want to be a bigger business, or they want to do other things outside of their business. So it's really understanding the whole concept of what you're looking to do, and then from there trying to do the things that you need to do to get to that point. It's really about just jumping in, not overthinking it, and that's what a lot of people are doing, is they're thinking, well, why should I be on TikTok? There's a lot of young kids on there. My product has nothing to do with young children. And there is a lot of little areas within different platforms that a lot of people don't realize can lead to big surprises. Okay. And when you just put content out there, you're putting content out there not to lead to letting people know exactly what you are. You're also doing it to understand what the market wants. Okay. So once I put content out there and I see what people's reactions are, I see the comments, I'm able to determine what I need to do to adjust my strategy to meet the needs that I developed in the first place with my strategy. And so I think that's why it's really important. I did a video on TikTok, and it was about an orange, and I had a tangerine in my hand, and everybody was talking about the fact that I had a tangerine. And you would never think of a video like that would go viral, but you don't really know what the other people are looking at when they're looking at your video. And so really taking all of that into consideration really helps, and that's the reason why small businesses should really think about it.
Yeah, so making sure you know what your goals are for your business.
Right.
And then realizing that it's kind of like, if you think of it like an inside-out marketing strategy, you can get valuable data from it. And then as you practice and get the muscle memory going, then it becomes marketing, and it actually brings in customers.
Right, exactly right.
So at the Nashville Voice Conference, this is what we talk about. We talk about how does a small business benefit from all these different ways with not only their marketing, but specifically the voice part of integrating it. Now, have you found with your experience building your own voice app, have you found that it's one extra thing to do, or have you figured that it can be integrated to help you with some of the other stuff that you're doing from a marketing standpoint?
That's a really good question. I think it's really interesting because everything has to be formatted for the platform, whether it's a voice skill, whether it's TikTok, whether it's Instagram. Not everyone resonates the same way. I made a video in my office that really resonated on Facebook and got millions of views, but TikTok, it was dead. Like, nobody was really interested, and that just goes to the fact that you have to really develop content for the audience. And that's really where, looking and constantly thinking about what I'm doing and how it's going to apply to the audience is more important than anything, and trying to be ubiquitous in terms of the content creation so that it hits all the platforms.
That's amazing. Very good advice. Thank you for that.
Sure.
Yeah, with that being said, one thing that's fascinating to me about just your content strategy at large is your ability to stay focused on driving new business while adapting and innovating these emerging social channels. What advice would you have to a new creator that is already in a state of ambiguity because of this is the latest TikTok trend, and then they also have a business.
Yeah.
How do you manage that?
Yeah. It's tough, and I actually was talking about in my talk about how like I feel like when developing your brand, it's foundational and compounding. So you're developing this strategy, you're doing all this work, then you're getting an offer to be in a commercial. Now you're dealing with time management. You're not dealing with trying to get opportunities anymore, and it's almost like an evolution in that respect. And I agree. I mean, I'm a mother, I have 2 kids, I have a business, I have to see patients and make sure they're a priority, my family's a priority. And so I think it's important to really think about the fact that all the content that we're making is going to be able to be used within voice, right? So like if I'm making a TikTok video, as long as I'm not violating any copyright, I can use that within voice. So trying to see where you can cross over is helpful in trying to save time. But I think also in terms of saving time is getting a team, having a videographer, having someone make the podcast setup, making the interview setup, having someone do the edit, and then making sure that's getting transcribed, whether it's a podcast or YouTube, taking YouTube and creating it into a podcast. I think that's where a lot of people could benefit, and there's ways to do that. You could have a high school student basically doing a lot of this because they're interested in social media, and you could have a team very easily that way. We went to a couple of magnet schools within our area that have students who have to go through various exams to get in, and they're really interested in doing it and working with me, and then also editing the whatever material we had. So it's really about trying to utilize your resources to the best ability, and that's how I look at it.
That's fair. What are you most fascinated by at the Voice conference or in Voice in general?
I mean, I have a little bit of bias because
Okay.
I'm in the healthcare field, so the Mayo Clinic and what they're doing
Yeah.
and strategizing with healthcare I think is really interesting.
Do you use the Voice platform in your office at all?
So I'm currently working on doing that. So what I think it could be really interesting to use it for private practice is for post-care instructions, as long as you're not obviously violating HIPAA, really just having like anything that's routine within the office, using that. Also, I think in ordering supplies, a lot of times people have gloves on their hand. They really can implement voice to help them really expedite all the work that they're doing. And so instead of having to take your glove out and order supplies, once you notice that you don't need it anymore, instead of wasting 10 minutes writing it down, you can just order it right there, possibly through Shopify or some other channel. And I think also within voice, what I'm looking to see is more communication within the office. So if I want to leave a note for someone that the sterilizer needs to be fixed tomorrow, I can easily communicate by using voice so that those things don't get slipped. And there's been a book that came out, The Checklist by Atul Gawande, about what it is that we need to look for in healthcare when we're doing work. And I think implementing that idea within voice could be huge to make sure we reduce errors and we're also increasing efficiency within the practice.
Understood. When you started, because you're still at the precipice of your voice journey,
Right.
when you were getting started, how did you fight through some of the barriers? Because there's Alexa over here, Google Assistant over there, Samsung and Bixby and Siri. There's just so many different elements. How did you say, okay, I'm going to pick a platform and start walking down that path?
Right. So I think where it starts is understanding where the leverage could be, possibly with reviews. So I would like to develop a skill where I have 5-star reviews. Amazon allows for me to, see that more readily. I also think that in-skill purchasing and being able to purchase, whether it's premium content or else whatever it may be, having that ability is what's going to designate which platform I'm working with, whether it's Samsung or Alexa. And then also the products. So for instance, if I'm working with a musician and they have music, where's the best way that I'm going to be able to implement my skill on their personal brand, and which platform is going to enable me to do that. And right now I'm seeing more offerings within Amazon Alexa, so that's where we put all our chips.
Understood. Thank you for rocking with us today.
Sure.
Paul, any other questions?
No, thank you very much. You hit on so much valuable information for everyone out there, so we really appreciate it.
Thank you guys. Thanks so much for having me.